Imagine a reality where you could lose nearly a quarter of your entire body weight in just over a year. Picture shedding pounds, reversing chronic disease, and reclaiming your life, not through the trauma and risk of major surgery, but through a simple, weekly injection. This is not some far-flung futuristic fantasy. This is the promise of Mounjaro, a revolutionary new drug being hailed as a true game-changer in the United Kingdom's long and often losing battle against obesity. And right now, it is being systematically rolled out on the National Health Service, sparking a tidal wave of both hope and controversy. Today, we are diving deep into the heart of the Mounjaro revolution. We will dissect the astonishing clinical results that have left even seasoned medical professionals in awe. We will listen to the profoundly moving, life-altering stories from the very first wave of real British patients whose worlds have been completely transformed. But this is not a one-sided promotional video. We will unflinchingly confront the dark side of this miracle jab, the debilitating and sometimes dangerous side effects, the urgent, almost desperate warnings being issued by doctors and regulators, and we will grapple with the single most critical question that casts a long shadow over this entire phenomenon. What truly happens when the injections stop? Are we witnessing the dawn of a genuine cure for obesity? Or are we simply embracing a breathtakingly effective, yet temporary, solution with a hidden and potentially dangerous long-term catch? The answers will define public health for a generation. Let's get into it. The story of Mounjaro's arrival in the UK's public health system begins with a momentous decision. In the summer of 2025, the NHS began an unprecedented rollout, officially authorizing general practitioners across England to prescribe Mounjaro. This was no hasty reaction to a passing trend. It was the culmination of rigorous assessment, culminating in a powerful and decisive endorsement from the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, more commonly known as NICE. As the official gatekeeper for all medicines and treatments in the United Kingdom, a recommendation from NICE is the gold standard, and it was granted only after they reviewed clinical trial data so compelling, so transformative, that it was simply impossible to ignore. The results from major global studies read like a wish list for every obesity researcher on the planet. On average, participants taking Mounjaro lost a staggering 20.9% of their total body weight over a 72-week period. To truly grasp the significance of that number, consider a person weighing 300 pounds. That equates to a loss of over 62 pounds. And it's crucial to remember, that was merely the average. The data revealed an even more remarkable reality for some. A significant portion of patients, particularly those on higher dosages who adhered strictly to the treatment protocol, saw their weight plummet by more than 25%. They literally shed a quarter of their body mass. This wasn't just another drug. It represented a paradigm shift. When Mounjaro was pitted directly against its predecessors, including the well-known weight loss jab semaglutide, it consistently delivered superior outcomes. This was not an incremental improvement, it was a quantum leap forward in the field of pharmacological weight management. As you can imagine, news of this caliber ignited a firestorm of public interest, sending shockwaves of hope through a population long starved of effective, safe, non-surgical options. The result? NHS trusts up and down the country are now reporting a massive, almost overwhelming surge in referrals for Mounjaro consultations. But cold hard statistics and clinical percentages, no matter how impressive, can never fully capture the human dimension of this story. The true soul-stirring power of this treatment is found in the personal, deeply emotional, and transformative experiences of real people. From specialized weight management programs and clinics across the UK, a chorus of anecdotal evidence is emerging that is every bit as compelling as the formal trial data. We are hearing consistent reports from patients who have lost between 5 and an incredible 7 stone. That's a range of 70 to 98 pounds, in a time frame as short as 9 to 12 months. These are not just numbers on a scale. They represent a fundamental rewriting of a person's life story. They speak of being able to play with their children without gasping for breath, of being able to climb a flight of stairs without agonizing joint pain, of seeing their reflection in the mirror and finally recognizing themselves again. The benefits cascade far beyond weight loss. Patients describe dramatic improvements in their overall metabolic health. Blood pressure readings that were dangerously high for decades suddenly drop back into the normal range. Their mobility is restored. Chronic, debilitating pain in their knees and back begins to subside. Even their sleep quality, often disrupted by conditions like sleep apnea, vastly improves. The psychological impact is perhaps the most profound of all, with countless individuals reporting massive boosts in their self-esteem, a newfound confidence, and the lifting of a heavy mental fog of depression and anxiety that so often accompanies the social stigma and physical burden of severe obesity. Consider the poignant story of one 38-year-old woman from Manchester who encapsulated this journey perfectly. She shared, "After struggling for what felt like my entire adult life, I've lost 6 stone in just 11 months on Mounjaro. My blood sugar levels, which were on the verge of type 2 diabetes, are normal again, and I'm walking every single day without pain." This is the tangible promise of Mounjaro in action, not just shedding pounds, but a complete, holistic reclamation of one's health, one's happiness, and one's future. These personal accounts are undeniably powerful and represent a new era of genuine hope for millions who felt they had none left. If you believe this kind of medical advancement has the potential to truly change the world for the better, please take a second to hit that like button. It's a small gesture that tells us these in-depth health stories matter to you. But as we rightfully celebrate these incredible victories, we must also turn our attention to the other side of the coin, because the journey with Mounjaro is not always a walk in the park. In fact, for some, it can be a treacherous and risky path. And here, we must confront the sobering reality. The game changer has a catch, and it's a significant one. Perhaps the most chilling warning comes not from doctors, but from the patients themselves, specifically those who have had to pause or completely stop their treatment. One person's account captured the looming fear perfectly. After stopping the weekly injections, they described the sensation of their natural hunger returning with an almost violent ferocity. Their exact words were, "It feels like I have a bottomless stomach again." This single, haunting quote illuminates the fundamental challenge of Mounjaro and drugs like it. They work by hijacking the body's hormonal signaling pathways, brilliantly suppressing appetite and regulating blood sugar while you are actively taking the medication. But they do not necessarily cure the complex genetic, biological, and environmental factors that drive obesity in the first place. The moment the treatment stops, the body's old, powerful signals can come roaring back, potentially leading to rapid weight regain. This frightening reality underscores the absolute, non-negotiable necessity for long-term medical supervision and profound, sustainable lifestyle changes. Then, there are the direct side effects of the drug itself. While a great many patients tolerate it well, doctors are urging extreme caution. The list of common side effects is enough to make anyone think twice. Persistent, lingering nausea that can interfere with daily life and work, disruptive and unpredictable bouts of diarrhea and constipation, and a pervasive, draining sense of fatigue and persistent headaches. For many, these are the price of admission, but for a significant minority, they can be debilitating, and the risks don't stop there. Far more concerning are the less common, but infinitely more dangerous, severe reactions. These can include pancreatitis, a severely painful and potentially fatal inflammation of the pancreas, as well as documented cases of serious kidney complications and other severe gastrointestinal issues requiring hospitalization. This is why medical experts are practically shouting from the rooftops about the importance of comprehensive screening, including baseline blood tests and regular, diligent check-ins with a healthcare professional. This is not a drug to be taken lightly. And this brings us to one of the biggest emerging fears among obesity specialists, the inevitable rise of a dangerous black market. They are flagging a massive public health concern about vulnerable and desperate patients attempting to bypass the official NHS system, sourcing the drug from shadowy, unregulated online providers without a proper diagnosis, without any medical screening, and, crucially, without the vital support network needed to manage the very real risks. This potent new weapon in the NHS's healthcare arsenal is, therefore, being guarded closely. So, who exactly qualifies to receive it? Let's be clear. This is not a cosmetic weight loss solution available to just anyone. The eligibility criteria have been made deliberately strict to ensure that this powerful medication is directed exclusively towards those individuals who need it the most and whose health is at the greatest immediate risk from their weight. Under the current, tightly controlled NHS guidelines, a patient must present with a body mass index, or BMI, of 40 or higher, a level classified as severe obesity. Alternatively, an individual may qualify with a slightly lower BMI of 35 or more, but only on the condition that they are also living with at least one serious weight-related health complication. This includes conditions like established type 2 diabetes, dangerously high blood pressure, or other cardiovascular risk factors. But even meeting these thresholds is not enough. The hurdles continue. Potential candidates are required to demonstrate that they have already made significant good faith efforts with conventional weight loss methods, such as medically supervised diet and exercise programs, and that these methods have unfortunately failed to yield significant or lasting results. And perhaps most critically of all, every single person approved for the drug must make a firm, binding commitment to participate in a structured, comprehensive weight management support program that runs concurrently with the injectable treatment. This is not a simple case of get your jab and go home. It is a holistic, intensive, and medically supervised program designed to instill lasting lifestyle changes. According to the initial projections from NHS England, this carefully managed rollout is expected to benefit over 220,000 patients within the next 3 years. While this is a substantial number of people whose lives could be changed, it remains just a fraction of the millions who are currently living with overweight or obesity in the UK. However, the ambition is to scale up. Plans are already being formulated to expand this figure significantly as the global supply chain for Mounjaro becomes more robust and as more long-term data on patient outcomes and safety is meticulously collected and analyzed. It is essential to understand that this entire multi-million-pound initiative is not happening in a vacuum. The landmark decision to incorporate Mounjaro into the NHS standard of care is a central, strategic pillar of the UK government's ambitious, wider 10-year plan to finally get a grip on the nation's spiraling obesity crisis. The sheer scale of the problem is difficult to comprehend. As of today, diagnosed obesity affects around 26% of all adults in England. A further 38% are officially classified as overweight. Combined, this means that nearly 2/3 of the adult population is carrying excess weight that puts their long-term health at risk. The financial and societal costs of this epidemic are simply crippling. The health burden directly associated with obesity is estimated to cost the National Health Service a breathtaking £6.5 billion every single year. That isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It represents real-world consequences: longer waiting lists for all patients, canceled operations, and an overstretched workforce. This vast sum is spent treating the devastating and largely preventable consequences of excess weight, including the ever-rising tide of type 2 diabetes, strokes, heart disease, and a range of cancers. The government's strategy, therefore, is multi-pronged. By investing heavily in a highly effective, non-surgical treatment like Mounjaro, they hope to achieve several critical objectives simultaneously. First and foremost, to directly attack the problem at its source and reduce the incidence of these costly and life-limiting diseases. Secondly, the aim is to boost the national economy by improving workplace productivity, addressing the preventable illnesses that contribute to long-term sick leave. And thirdly, the ultimate financial goal is to alleviate the immense long-term strain on the NHS by reducing the demand for expensive hospital admissions and high-risk invasive procedures like gastric bypass surgeries. In this context, Mounjaro is viewed by policymakers not merely as a treatment for individuals, but as a crucial strategic investment in the United Kingdom's long-term public health and economic stability. As we gaze towards the future, The plans for Mounjaro are nothing short of audacious. The next proposed phase of the rollout aims to decentralize access by making the drug available directly through local community pharmacies, all under the strict supervision of a qualified pharmacist. This would represent a monumental shift, allowing eligible patients to receive their prescriptions and vital ongoing support without needing to secure a GP appointment, a move designed to vastly improve equitable access, particularly for those living in underserved urban and remote rural populations. By the year 2027, the NHS has articulated a bold and ambitious aim to provide access to as many as 3.4 million patients who meet the clinical thresholds. This grand vision, however, is entirely contingent on a stable global supply, reassuring long-term safety data, and a much deeper scientific understanding of the drug's true, decades-long impact on the human body. So, we find ourselves standing at a fascinating and pivotal crossroads in modern medicine. Mounjaro is, without any shadow of a doubt, a profoundly powerful and transformative tool. It is a classic double-edged sword, offering incredible, life-changing hope on one side, while carrying significant risks and a host of unanswered questions on the other. Is this truly the silver bullet that the Western world has been desperately searching for in its protracted war on obesity? Or is it a powerful but ultimately temporary biological crutch that risks creating a new and unforeseen kind of lifelong dependency? The health of millions of people and billions of pounds in public funds hangs precariously in the balance. We will be tracking this developing story with intense focus. To ensure that you do not miss our critical updates on this and other health breakthroughs that affect every single one of us, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel with all notifications turned on. What are your personal thoughts on this complex issue? Is this a miracle drug or a potential menace? We would be fascinated to read your perspective in the comments section.